Hi, this is my case study on Get This Child Out of My Room. And I just want to start this off by saying that as a special education teacher, unfortunately, I have heard this more than a few times. In this situation, we have a student who is being disruptive, and then we have two teachers who are at odds on what to do with Carl. One wants him out of her classroom, and one wants to come up with a plan to keep him in the classroom. From the information given, we know that Carl is a third grader, and he is showing all kinds of outward behaviors, self-abusive, aggressive, disruptive, and is upsetting the teacher and other students. And we have the classroom teacher who is very frustrated and just wants a problem to go away. She wants Carl taken out of her classroom. And then we have a brand new special education teacher, Miss Green, who wants to work with the teacher and come up with a plan to help Carl be more successful and remain in the classroom. Some things that I would like to know are, what does the previous data collected around Carl's behavior plan look like? Do we know when behaviors are happening, where behaviors are happening? What are precursors to behaviors happening? And then what does Carl's overall current behavior plan look like? In the case study, it mentioned that there was a punishment plan. What I would like to know is there also a reward plan? And then also what interventions are already in place and how are they working? And then also, just out of curiosity, what is the living situation between his parents? Does he have his own space in both places? How many times a week does he have to move back and forth? And then also what kinds of routines are in place in both places. So as far as the actual problem, we have a student who is in crisis and there are extenuating circumstances contributing to this. His parents recently got a divorce. He has a teacher who pretty much outwardly dislikes him and just wants him gone. And then it's also still early in the year for Carl. And for a student with behavior problems or issues, just not knowing things can sometimes cause behaviors. And then also, does he feel like the new curriculum is over his head? And in either situation, he could be showing behaviors in order to avoid certain tasks within the classroom. As far as a plan of action, first, I think I would review the IEP to make sure it's been implemented as it was written and consistently. Is he receiving all of his service minutes? Are all of his accommodations and modifications being implemented in all situations at school? And then also, what are his academic levels? Is too much being asked of him right now? Or do we just need to tweak the modifications and accommodations in order to help him be more successful in this classroom and with the curriculum? I would get a parent meeting together to get consent to start a new functional behavior assessment. And then in the FBA, I would include several things. I would like to interview Carl's teachers to see what their take is on Carl's behaviors, when, where, how, those kinds of things, and the behaviors that they're seeing. Because a lot of times in different classrooms, different teachers see different behaviors or lack of behaviors. I would like to interview Carl's parents to see what kinds of behaviors they're seeing at home and talk about what routines there are in both homes and kind of what the situation is. I would also like to give the Vineland test to Carl's parents and teachers just to get a clearer picture of what kinds of behaviors are happening and in what situations. And then also start some new interventions to see what works and what doesn't, and then evaluate their effectiveness over time. After that, when we have some new data to look at, we can decide whether we need to change the IEP goals, change the accommodations and modifications, or will an update make things better? And then it seems like we definitely need to change the behavior plan. So as far as what's best for students, I think overall, the first thing we need to do is get a better plan in place for Carl so that hopefully we'll see less behaviors, which will make all students feel safer, calmer, and they will be in a better frame of mind to learn. Some of my thoughts on all of this, I think both the teacher and the parents need to understand that punishment or discipline isn't just punishment. It's learning behaviors, and the adults need to model those behaviors in order for the student to learn them. It's a process. It's not just one thing or another. I think in both places, at home and at school, we need to get some routines in place for Carl as soon as we can, so that he knows what to expect in various situations. And then also I thought that the brand new special education teacher did a great job in handling this situation. She didn't just back down from the classroom teacher. She did keep on and keep working on a plan to put in place for this student. Some unresolved or unfinished issues. I would like to know what the data looked like with a new plan in place. Did we help curb some of those behaviors for Carl? Could we get the parents to participate and put a plan in place at home? Because I think a lot of times with kids like this, when you can show a united front between home and school, that does a world of difference in seeing behaviors from this kind of student. And then also, did the attitudes of those involved change? Was Mrs. Taylor more accepting of Carl in her classroom, and did we see less behaviors? As far as a reflection on Standard 2, I think by putting a better plan in place for Carl, he'll be more stable, we'll see less behaviors, and I think then all students will feel safer and more learning can take place. Excuse me. And then when students are calmer and ready to learn, the teacher will be less frustrated and be able to do more of what she wants to do in her teaching, and everything will go better. As far as promoting the academic success of all, I think all of these components revolve around a new, better plan for Carl. And when we see less behaviors, it'll be a better learning environment for all. And then with less outward behaviors, the students will feel safer and they will be more ready to learn. And then just overall, more can be accomplished in a calmer classroom with less behaviors. Promoting the well-being of all. Again, all around the behavior plan. If we can get Carl showing less behaviors, if there are less outbursts scaring students, they'll feel safer, and then they can concentrate on their lessons and what they're doing when they don't have to worry about what Carl is doing. And then hopefully with part of a better behavior plan, all the students can get along better. With a better plan, Mrs. Taylor will feel safer and she can go back to concentrating on her lessons and making sure her students are learning the curriculum and probably accomplishing a lot more when she doesn't have to keep stopping things to correct Carl's behavior. Just some final statements that I had. I think it's still amazing to me what a good behavior plan can do for a student like this. I think it's of the utmost importance. this kind of student needs to know what to expect. Even though we don't think we need to tell them everything, we sure need to have a plan in place so that in most situations they know what to expect, therefore they will know what to do. And then I also think that a student like this is a tribute to how important relationships are. A student needs to know that people care about him and that there's someone just who cares at school. So that's my case study on Get This Student Out of My Classroom. Thank you.